Riots in the United Kingdom. This is an interesting thing. The reason I wanted to discuss this is because on our channel we discuss a lot of things about gun rights, a lot about immigration and all this other fun stuff. Well, I don't watch the mainstream news. I guess today I was watching Sky News Network. I went through YouTube and looked at some of the stuff that's out there from the standard news outlets. But I guess it all started when 3 very young girls were horribly murdered by somebody in this one small town. And I guess this has escalated where supposedly, according to the government, right-wing thugs have started violence and everything else and rioting and the whole 9 yards. Now the UK, I think just about totally outlawed. I don't think you can own handguns, and their gun control is bad. They've disarmed the population. But now, street gangs and that, instead of shooting people, just hack them up with butcher knives and stuff. So that really ended the violence, okay? So instead of being shot, you just get chopped to pieces. So criminal activity, violence wasn't stopped. So I guess what the boiling point is being a socialist country. Basically the government more or less runs everything, all your jobs and everything else. There is a private sector, but a vast majority of it falls under a socialist government, Well, part of what feeds this is bringing these immigrants in. Now, the British Empire was pretty vast at one point in time. So all these people, I guess, that fell underneath all the colonies, India, Middle East, Asia, all can kind of lay claim to citizenship or something. So they're having, much like here, and much like in many other places, a massive immigration. Okay? And the system feeds on having these immigrants in here. See, this is something we don't look at. You have to look at who benefits, who prospers from this large wave of immigrants. And don't look at it as cheap labor. You have to look at how the government has to provide for them. There's social services, counselors, lawyers, all these people, this whole system to process these individuals, to house them, to take care of them, teach them English, everything else. There's a whole system with a great amount of employees, which work for, I guess, the government, that have employment with this huge wave of immigrants. It doesn't matter whether they fit into society, do anything good for society, become productive in society. Processing this wave of people gives people work. Okay? Now, see, this is something that, because all of us just see them as they come in, they do the manual jobs, they take away, they hurt the labor market. Yes, they do. But you have to understand who benefits from them being there. So people kind of have caught on, and people in the UK are fed up, and the rioting has started. So the response of the government, as usual, like what happened here in this country, what happened in Canada. Okay, the government's response is they're criminals, terrorists, and we're going to crack down on it. All right. Now, right now, as I speak, I guess, because 6 hours behind us, there's all kinds of rioting and stuff going on like crazy. Protests, counter-protests, and the whole country is in turmoil. I mean, crisis-level turmoil. A lot of people are saying it may fall into a civil war. Okay? Which, to me, that's kind of important. Civil war. over this, such a divide, such polarization, that a place like England, I think they had a civil war in 15 or 1600s or something. But to get to that point in modern times, and people that are unarmed, I really don't know how that's going to go, but that's the word they're throwing around. And watching on the news, again, they said the violence must stop, this must all stop, do not listen to, or this and that, to the right-wing people, to this terrorist. So now they've come up and said that any conservative right people are more or less going to be categorized as a terrorist organization. Now the strange thing is they're enacting this thing, like say you're living there somewhere and you wake up in the morning and you look out your window and there's a riot in the street, and you just take your phone, shoot a little video or take a picture and post it online to Facebook or some sort of website, social media. They come up with a law. It doesn't matter what political party you belong to, what your true feelings and intentions are. If you post anything about these riots on social media or in the public, it will be considered an act of terrorism, and the police will come and look for you, which to me is insane. It's like I took a photograph of something. I can be totally uninvolved in any view, in any activity, but because I posted a photograph of something that is banned or considered banned by the government, I've now committed an act of terrorism. And the reason I bring this up, it has always been my suspicion that these governments, and a systematic thing like which happens here in the United States, defunding the police, uncontrolled illegal immigration, destroying the economy, racial opinions, because now the big thing is racism. It's the white Anglo-Saxons against the Muslims, and there's rioting, beatings and stuff outside of mosques in different neighborhoods where these immigrant communities live and all these other people. And you see a lot of that here in the U.S., defunding the police, letting things go to a point where no one feels safe. There's no social control. And also, if you go and say that anyone who resists what's going on from one point of view, not the 3-4 different points of view that are wandering around out there going nuts, from one point of view, which is generally white people, conservative, religious, compared to anyone else of a different race, religion, or whatever, they're terrorists. And what they're doing in England, I don't know if they probably can't get away with that here in the U.S., but you see how the mindset is, how the solution is in there. Things just get out of control, and just one group of people are going to be singled out as terrorists, and are going to impose this ruling and law, much like what went on in Canada, where they just froze everyone's bank account that was even remotely. I think it was some people sent them a $20 donation and they got their bank accounts frozen. I never heard whatever happened to these people. Property confiscated, their trucks, businesses and bank accounts frozen. They destroy you. How do you pay your bills? And again, it goes back to my other video about how technology will be used as a weapon. In the future, they will be able to eradicate you through shutting off all of your electronic accounts, your bank account, your whole existence. it can just turn it off like turning a light switch off, and you won't exist. Okay, it's a scary thing. And watching this happen here, and what's unfolding, I don't know. I pray for all the people in England, because this is bad. Another major country falling apart at the seams, and the government doesn't really seem to do a damn thing about it, other than oppress the people harder and faster. Okay? And unfortunately, I hope these things don't start happening here in the U.S. I haven't heard of that yet, but with stock market crashes, unemployment and that, in this country, it ain't going to take much to go further off the rails or end up like there. One incident to flash something, one senseless massacre or murder can propel the United States on a course just like that. Okay, so it's time to be watchful and pay attention to what's going on, because this seems to be a pattern going on globally with a lot of different countries. Something to bear in mind. Alright guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.